Who has the best wide receiver duo in the NFL? I think we're going to be biased on this one, but we'll do the list anyway. Top 5 coming up right now. Victory Mondays. Let's go.
All day, baby. You know that.
Let's hunt.
If we don't come together right now on this hollow ground.
Where are you going? I'm going to pick a fight.
Get up, nothing!
Are you not entertained? Are you not entertained? Is that why you are here?
Let the games begin. This is where we hold them. This is where we fight. This is where they die.
Money is nice. Championships are better.
Oh, a little clip off. Got to get better with that. Got to clean that up. Welcome, everybody, back to another episode of Victory Mondays. I am the player. I am the host. They call me Moss Money, and we got the GM with us, as always. Ernie B, supporting the colors. Love the colors. That forest green. What's going on, bro?
Midnight green.
Midnight green. I'm sorry. I said forest.
Yeah, don't get it twisted.
Don't get it twisted. My bad. What's going on, bro?
Hey, happy to be here, man. The weekly, I think, criticism of the intro video. I saw some new tweaks. It looked fantastic, but the ending there was a little
short. Yeah,
a little abrupt. It came out of nowhere. I was waiting for a little something more, and then it was like, oh, but I gotta say, I like it.
Yeah.
The Jalen Hurts tongue out to the Bengals D on the tush push was a great addition.
Yeah. I like that one. I forgot he did that. So I'd like taking away the bird and the cartoon part of it a little bit. I was kind of getting bored of watching that. So
it's all right. We make new moves.
Yeah. And we're making new moves today, man. We are doing ranking and doing the receiver duels top 5. And I promise you, this will be the best top 5 you've ever seen on YouTube, Facebook, Instagram, all the above, Twitter, wherever you can find us. This will be your best ranking you've ever seen across the board. So with that being said, we're going to rank them from 5 to 1, leaving obviously the best for last. Man, where do we start here? I think we have a collection of receiver groups that we already know are in this conversation. We're going to put some out there. I'm going to put some out there that I don't have, maybe honorable mentions, and let me know if you think they hit 5. The first one that comes to my mind is that duo over in Tampa that's been doing it a very long time. Why is his name Givens? Why is his name forgiven for me? Michael Evans and Givens, right?
Chris Godwin.
Godwin. That's right. Chris Godwin. Honorable mention. Do they make it to 5? Or Father's Time is caught up with those two?
I'm going to go honorable mention here. Mainly because of Godwin coming off of injury, age. It's kind of the biggest thing here. You'll have to correct me if I'm wrong, though, on a later show, but you guys should look into his total receiving prop, Mike Evans, that is. I think it's set at like 900 and a half or something, and he's broke 1,000 for the past like 6 or 7 years.
I think it's more than that. I thought it was like 10 years.
Yeah, I mean, it's incredible. So, I mean, yet again, they're just offering that one up. I'd say honorable mention, but it's strictly due to age. It's just that there's too many young buck duos that have surpassed them. But I mean, consistency outside of injury, they've been the duo.
Okay, another duo out there. Probably don't rank top 5, maybe as a 3 out there in Chicago. Romeo Dunze, DJ Moore, Keenan Allen.
Keenan Allen's free agent, so it's just DJ Moore and Romeo Dunze.
That is true.
Yeah, I would. They're not even in this list. They don't deserve any credit for being in this conversation.
That is true. That is true.
Yeah, about to say Rome's got a lot to prove. I'm a big fan, but I mean, I like a doomsday, but I mean, the Bears are nothing but expectations and lofty expectations they are. So,
okay,
move the needle, Chicago. We'll talk.
And then I think the last one that I was thinking about that's out there is the Falcons with Drake London and Mooney.
Yeah, not even close. I'd say the Bucs are the one out of that group that I think would have the argument, and that's based on the fact that they were probably here of every year up until now. But I think Godwin coming off an injury and Evans really just age. I mean, it's nothing else but that. But I mean, with Baker Mayfield's throwing capacity, the way they run that thing, even with losing Liam Cohen, I mean, I got a feeling that the ball's still going to be thrown all over the place. So.
Agreed. So my thought, though, is let's put some guidelines around this. Or you tell me how you kind of look at the duo. Are we looking at pure talent? Or are we looking at production over the last year? And does the quarterback play a factor?
I think when grading receiver, you can't take really any of that into account. I think when it comes to the duos, I think we should rank them as far as how do they fare as individuals. And, for the Bengals or the Eagles sense, I think it creates such a problem for opposing defenses that you really can't shut down somebody because you have this other option that's in the game. And I think that has nothing to do with quarterback, running back, whatever. I mean, receivers get open. And whether the quarterback gets them the ball, that's what it is. I mean, I think that if you had to go off the quarterback and the offense and stuff, then I mean, I don't know if AJ Brown or DeVonta would be in the list. So usage or anything, if you try to take that into account, I think it would be a little odd. But I would say that we should look at them as how do they fare against their respective peers as far as just wide receivers go.
Okay. All right, let's start it off. Number 5. I'm going to go with, and let me know if you correct me if I'm wrong, I'm going to go with Jefferson and Addison at number 5. And the only and we don't need to even talk about Jefferson. We know what Jefferson is. I only don't move them higher because Addison hasn't broken the 1,000-yard mark yet. So yeah. I think that brings them a notch down because all the other duos that we're going to talk about have had dual at least receiving 1,000 yards receiving yards in at least a year, and he has not done that yet. Could be issue with the quarterback, whatever you want to say, but the stats.
I don't think it's quarterback here. I think Addison's had his own issues. But I mean, the Jefferson-Addison combo at 5, I would start off by saying that's a little low. I might would have them a hair or two higher, but I mean, that's a rather well-respected dynamic duo in the league.
Yeah, Marcus said the same thing. And I think it's based on how good Jefferson is, right?
Well, Addison is an underrated route runner in the league. Like he
I don't think he's underrated.
Said, well, Addison has issues outside of football. So, I mean, if you take into account just pure talent, yeah, I mean, where do we rank Josh Gordon in the all-time receiver conversation? But Addison's one of those ones that I would tell you, yeah, he's far more talented than what has been seen. You brought up quarterback to begin with. I would agree. But I think that grading Addison on his production while running number 2 behind Jefferson when the entire offense runs through Jefferson is a little wonky. I will say there's a fun fact. I can't remember if it was from PFF or what it was, but when Addison, Jefferson, and Hockenson are on the field, their offensive production is almost 5 times what it is when one of those 3 is missing. So I think Addison and Jefferson are a forgotten about duo.
Okay. Number 4. Puka, terrible pitcher, but it's the best one I could find with both of them. Puka and DeVonta Adams.
They're a 4-3 for me. I've got a flip coin of who I have at 4 and 3. I think it's more of a flavor thing. Puka and DeVonta offer elite route running, great hands. How they're going to use them in the offense would be a little intriguing to see using both of them. But I mean, Puka has done things just incredible year after year. I mean, he just continues to ascend. DeVonta's back end, but I think he still supplements himself as a
I think Puka's very underrated. Like, I think Puka's underrated.
I don't think he's underrated in the sense. I mean, anytime he makes a catch, they jerk him off on TV. So I don't think he's underrated. But I think as far as the rankings go, yeah, Puka doesn't get the respect he deserves. He's also playing on a team where him and everybody outside of DeVonta and Matthew are young and they're just old as fuck. And for some reason, they forget to give a team respect that gave the Eagles the hardest time in the playoffs last year. You know, they just added DeVonta Adams. I mean, swapping Kupp for Adams, that's tip for tap. You want me to be honest with you, especially where they're at in their careers. But you know,
it's hard to say. I think Adams has a little bit more gas tank. Over 2 teams he still broke 1,000 over the last 2 teams he played for last year. I don't know if it was I don't know what happened to Coop. Like I don't know why. I don't understand his fall. You know,
injury, man. I mean, injury and age.
You think so? I mean, what was he? Is he 2 years from the Triple Crown?
Just like corner, man. I mean, you know,
was he 2 years from the Triple Crown, right?
I mean, that don't mean nothing. I mean,
that don't mean nothing.
No, it means nothing to me. Like that means nothing because otherwise, I'm going to look at DeVonta and go, "What the fuck did he do on tape last year that made you be a fan? What did he do with the New York Jets that made you or Marcus be a fan?" Because I saw nothing. I mean, I'm not talking about Raiders. I'm talking about Jets. With his boy, what did he do?
I mean, the Jets were horrific.
No. I'm not asking about the Jets, bro. We're talking about individual players. What did he do?
I mean, he did the best he could.
No, he wasn't. He was not. He was the second best wide receiver on the team behind Garrett Wilson, who just got paid. So I think you're talking about a player who's struggled with injury, Puka, and his injuries are not light. They're hard to deal with. And you're talking about a player who DeVonta is the back end of their career. Adam could be a route god. He's not lining up one-on-one with Tyreek Hill. I mean, route god all you want. When you run past everybody, that's the game of football. So my next duo is Tyreek Hill and Jalen Waddle.
Really?
Of course.
You got him at 3?
Of course, man. We're not going to have this Jamar conversation over Tyreek Hill.
No. I wasn't going there. I was going to go CD and Pickens.
No. CD by himself has a conversation in this list, but with Pickens, I mean, I'll go back to Josh Gordon. Like, what could have been? That's what we're going to talk about with George Pickens.
Well, for me, I do like I get what you're saying with the quarterback part of it.
We can't talk quarterback though, because we talk about Aaron Rodgers, who is Aaron Rodgers, and he's throwing to DeVonta. And like I asked you before, what did DeVonta do last year?
Yeah, I didn't watch any Jets games, so I couldn't tell you.
He didn't do anything that made you remember. He has not done anything that could make you name a play right now. So in my opinion, he was just a name in the game, right? There's a lot of guys who are just a name in the game.
Yeah.
And where we're at now with a guy like, CD by himself. Oh yeah. I mean, we can't, but with Pickens, Pickens is another what if player. Like,
the only reason why I say that is because I do think that Pickens hasn't had a chance to shine with a legit quarterback, and I think that Prescott is going to help him with that. I mean, Prescott will throw for 4,500, 5,000 yards.
So how many catches? 3,500 to 5,000 is a wild range.
No, 45.
45 to 5 for Dak this year is wild.
I think so.
He hasn't dude, I'm not even going to get in this argument, but CD and George Pickens, it's like CD's the best player on the offense without a doubt. Pickens, we'll see how they use him. I mean, it's Brian Schottenheimer, so.
No, I mean, let me bring it up. So I'm not. You don't think I'm
they
talking?
Haven't played a snap together. There's nothing to bring up. This is all hypothetical. I
No. I'm talking about Mr. Dak Prescott.
I'm not talking Dak Prescott. He hasn't played a snap for Brian Schottenheimer in his offense. He was the OC last year, so going to have the whole thing going. I mean, now he's the head coach.
Yeah.
We talk every year about, Jalen's coordinator or who his head coach is. So I'm doing the same thing to Dallas. I'm not going to have a conversation about, Shoddy.
I just want to see the numbers. That's all. I just want to see what we're looking at. So I know I'm not tripping. Because I thought he threw for 5,000 yards one year, but he didn't. Okay. He threw for 4,900.
He did not.
He threw for 4,900. Threw for
Real
4,900.
Close.
So he's been in the league 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. 10 years, and he's thrown for 4,000 3 times. And they all been about 4,500.
When was the last time he threw for over 4,500 yards? What year was it?
23.
23?
23. He threw for 4,516 yards, 36 touchdowns, and 9 picks. Played all 17. Nice. First time in his career.
Nice.
All right, well, let's give it to him.
Yeah,
there it is.
I mean,
Money shot.
I hate it for them. They somehow their head coach has forgotten how to call plays, dealing with all his head coach duties. But yeah, I mean, there's no. I mean, the cheetah and the penguin, bro. Like,
yeah, I mean, obviously Hill had a lot of injuries, right? A lot of issues in Miami. He's there, he's not there. I always thought that. I feel like when Hill's not there, you're looking for Waddle to step up. And I'm not sure he has.
Yeah, he got nothing to do with either of them, man.
But I feel like when Hill wasn't there, Waddle was balling. You know what I'm saying? It's like that shadow.
They don't. I think they're more, like I said, they're more crucified by their play calling and play design than they are anything else. The talent with these two is all there. But I would take these two's talent over Dallas's all day long. Like I would take Tyreek and Jalen's upside over CD and George's upside. And that's a lot. Like that's a good question to ask. But I would take the fact of the matter is Tyreek Hill is in the category of Calvin Johnson. There's not a single player on this list that is. Now, while he's on the back end of his career, he is one of the very few freak of natures in the NFL. And while he still steps his feet on the turf, field, grass, whatever, he is that guy until otherwise stated. You know what I mean? Like, it's the same thing with Lane Johnson. Like, I'm not going to talk bad about Lane Johnson until he shows me that he's not. Tyreek's off the field stuff, whatever, that's fine. When he steps on the field and he wants to be great, he's great. And he's one of the few NFL freak of natures. Name a player in the NFL, in the history of the NFL, that can sniff Tyreek Hill's speed.
I mean, we're not. I mean,
his
speed is. I'm not going to knock him for his speed. His speed is different. I don't think speed is everything.
Well, actually, we have seen a player that can touch his speed. His name is John Ross. He went 9th overall in the first round. And what did he end up doing? Yeah,
that's why I said speed. Speed to me, speed doesn't really mean anything.
Here's the thing. Tyreek was never measured on speed, so we have zero gauge to go off how fast he actually is.
What do you mean?
He never ran a 40. Tyreek Hill has never ran a 40 in his life on paper. On record, he tried to race Noah Lyles, and Noah Lyles no longer wants to race for whatever reason. Yeah. But Tyreek Hill has never been timed. I don't know if you remember. Believe he was a 6th round pick.
Yeah, somewhere around there.
Out of West Alabama, kicked out of Oklahoma State for, getting into a little altercation or whatever with a female. But, he think it happened again. I don't know the exact story, but West Alabama to the NFL, Andy Reid, here we are. There's not a player of recent history outside the name of Chris Johnson that could sniff his physical ability on the field. And imagine if Chris Johnson was able to hone in on catching the ball and play receiver.
Yeah, I mean, it's like, again, to me, I've had this conversation because it's we're an Eagle show and we talked about, D-Jack a lot and where D-Jack
he's not there. He's not.
But I'm talking about, like, to me, speed isn't really.
Yes,
you know,
but when you have speed up to the point that it's basically the same thing as being the size of Calvin Johnson, yes, you put yourself in the Bo Jackson category of there are certain guys that enter this league, no matter what they do in this league, they sit in this awkward realm of just being a freak of nature, or as we like to call them in the scouting community, aliens. Tyreek Hill is an alien, just like Calvin Johnson is an alien. Am I saying they are alike as players? No. Do they have the same history? No. But find me another one. You won't. You will never find me a player like that.
Yeah.
Every single player you're going to give me that sniffed his speed was my height and lanky as all get out. They didn't have the ability to take a hit.
Yeah,
He's half my size, runs 4.2, potentially 4.1. We don't know. I mean, as much as I hate to say it, I don't know. But he's the fastest clock speed in the NFL. So there's just things about him that outside of his shitty situation that he's in right now clearly supplements him in this list.
Yeah,
Waddle, who's a shade of what he is, but I mean, let's be clear. Hill is here and Waddle is here, and Waddle is extremely athletic. I mean, he is a freak of nature in his own, but he's not an alien.
Yeah, I don't know, man. I don't know. I don't know. I think I'm kind of leaning towards that Dallas on the list.
Let's.
Yeah,
What Tyreek done in the league?
I don't know. I'm just
2022 with Miami, 1,710 receiving yards. 2023, 1,799 receiving yards.
Yeah,
he had one down season, and he still played all 17 games.
Yeah, I mean, he had his ups and downs in KC. I was looking at the numbers, and then
I don't see any ups and downs. I mean, I see a one game started, 593 yards receiving to begin his career. I see 13 games started, which resulted in 1183 year 2. Year 3, 16 out of 16, 1479. Year 4, hurt, 12 games, 860. 15 out of 15, 2020. That's not max. I believe that should be 15 out of 16. I can't remember if they went to 17 that year, but that's 1276. 1239 after that, 1710 after that, 1799. Those last two without Mahomes. I don't know what has dislodged in your brain about who Tyreek Hill is, but if he didn't beat women up once a year, he'd be a Hall of Famer.
I was about to ask that. Do you think Tyreek Hill is going to be a Hall of Famer?
No, he's in the alien list. There's a separate list. Hall of Famer requires you to be a great football player and a great human being. Terrell Owens, Lawrence Taylor. You know, we can talk about Big Bad. There's so many guys.
Yeah, but those are aliens, though. We're talking about those are
Calvin Johnson. Alien. He's also a great human being. He might be the most rare human of all time when it comes to that.
So no, I mean he had 3 out of his 10-year career. He had 3 down years. He had his rookie year, right? Which you can't really.
There's no down years. His most recent year was the lowest production based to snaps played. It's about snaps. It's about snaps played. So snaps to production every game, every year before there were injuries.
I'm just saying. See these numbers out the gate look pretty comparable, right?
I'm
just saying.
Not in any way, shape, or form, man.
I don't know, bro.
You got 4 straight years of you have 2 years of good production. You have 1 year in 2023 of elite production. Last year, 101 for 1194 and 6. What is that?
What do you mean?
101 receptions on 152 targets. Look at how many targets, man. This is a receiver, bro. I mean, look how many targets.
Yeah, I know. I mean, he's
yards per reception, yards after the catch. I mean, this is a position that is not just what do you do on paper. I mean, this is one of those positions. This is I can't even argue that. I mean, CD is a volume, a catch. You know what Shy is? People call him a free throw merchant. CD is the slant merchant, bro. He's new age Michael Thomas. How long will it last? Who knows? 4 years ago, we thought Michael Thomas was a top 5 receiver in the NFL. He hasn't had a job since.
I would say Michael Thomas was pretty fucking good. But
where is he now, bro? I'm just saying, where is he now? Sitting at home, got a fucking job, begging for a pension.
Yeah,
And he was a dog.
but the injuries got Thomas. He had some bad injuries.
He didn't have any major injuries. There was nothing. It was lack of. We can't get it. We're not going to dive to that. But Michael Thomas.
I like the
and
comparison.
CeeDee Lamb.
I like the comparison. Good comparison.
We'll see where CeeDee is years from now. You're talking about 5 to 10. Tyreek's been in this league twice as long as CeeDee is. Tyreek probably is a kid older than CeeDee, bro. Like,
oh shit,
let's be for real. Come on, like Tyreek is really like that. Like Tyreek.
I'm not taking anything away from
outside
Tyreek.
of any receiver we put in this list. They do not sniff Tyreek Hill. Let's make that clear.
Okay. All right. You made your case. I'll keep him at 3. All right. So we only have 4 groups left.
There's only 2 teams that matter left. It's Cincinnati and Philly. It's the debate of who's won. And I think that it's more of a preference thing. I know where I stand, but it's a preference thing.
That's a preference thing. Where do you stand? Who do you have 2?
2 Cincy. Number 1's Philly.
I like it.
I think Jamar is better than AJ in a total sense, but I think that what DeVonta brings is so much more thorough than what T brings, while I still respect T.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to go into next year with my number 1 and number 2 receivers is AJ Brown number 1, Jamar Chase number 2. And I'm giving AJ number 1 because of his ability to produce when the ball's in his hands and when he's on the field. And I think that his production score is so high that it's, you can't really look away from it. When he's on the field, they win football games and they put up points. When he's not, it is what it is. Jamar is special, and he's not quite in the Tyreek Hill category yet, but he's a bit of an anomaly considering at his height, weight, and speed, how he moves so well. And then T is a different breed than Smitty, whereas Smitty is a move Z slot ace who could also line up at the X. T is a primary X who could run flank or slot if you needed him to. There are instances in which T. Higgins and DeVonta Smith are number 1 receivers on other football teams. And that's not just because they're really shitty. That's just because these 2 teams are that loaded at top 2 of receiver.
Yeah. I mean, looking at his numbers, right? You talk about somebody with volume, right? He's averaging like 150 targets per year. I think I do agree with you. I think it's hard to say that Chase is better than AJ just on the strength. I do think the quarterback plays a role here because you do have possibly a generation talent at quarterback in Joe Burrow. So when you have somebody with that type of arm throwing you the ball, it's hard to say, especially the way we play, right? It's just completely.
Well, we haven't, I'm not just going off last year's play. I mean, I'm going off, every team's like the history of how these teams operate with these players through coordinators and whatever regime they're in. The reason why I just would say going into this year, I have Jamar ahead of AJ. I predict AJ to finish ahead of Jamar at the end of the season. But yes, there's been a lot of heavy volume going his way. But kind of with the thing of like a CD conversation, goes, what is CD doing with these targets? Where is he going? A lot of them are caught, 7-yard reception, 3 yards after the catch, it's a first down.
Right.
Chases seem to be much larger in the distance. Either he catches the ball short, runs long, or he catches the ball long and is able to create something after it, just extend the play. Taking a 25-yard catch and turning it into a 30-yard catch is much like you can't weight it as heavily as taking a 7-yard reception on 3rd down and turning it into a first down. But I think that the way Chase moves with the ball in his hands is just a little bit smoother than a guy like AJ or even a guy like CD. I just think Chase runs more like a running back with the ball in his hands, which allows the team to set up plays where there's a drag that he might turn into 60 where AJ or CD might turn it into 40. I just think he has that.
Yeah, I think it's the other way around. I think Chase runs like a really, like you said, a really smooth receiver, and
You'd
AJ
be
runs like
really-
AJ runs like a running back. Like
Well,
he's
but that's
bulling
fine.
people
I'm
over.
talking about with the ball in their hands. AJ looks like a bull holding a ball like it's a glass, like it's a piece of glass, and that's fine. Like you can hold it all tight like you want to, but I'm talking about fluidity within movement. And Jamar
No, I
has
know what you
much
mean.
more
Yeah.
natural fluidity, but it's not like CD where you look. CD's almost too smooth for school, whereas Jamar, the movements are precise. Every move, like I said, is not. There's no stiffness to his game. It's all fluidity. Like, I mean, dude, AJ's got bad knees at my age. Like, he's in no way, shape, or form smooth. He's a very stiff dude, but he's able to work with it in a sense that really we haven't seen from guys his height, weight, speed.
I'm about to say he's a completely different body type too. You know what I mean?
Not very far off him and Jamar are. You'd be surprised. Look at their height weights, and then go look at a picture of them with their shirts off. AJ looks like he's on steroids. Jamar looks like he just smokes weed and eats potions.
I mean, but for that position, 10 pounds is a lot. You know, in terms of difference.
Not anymore.
We say it's not, but
it used to be. It used to be.
DeVonta
Smith weighs
it definitely looks
175
different.
pounds.
It definitely looks different. I'll tell you that.
It looks different, but the game has changed. You know what I mean? Like it's not because a lot of those big body X's nowadays. I mean, look at who just got paid today, Garrett Wilson. He is much more of the DeVonta Smith build than he is the AJ Brown or Jamar Chase build. Like I said, man, I mean, these guys, the game is changing. But if I had to pick one today, this is starting a franchise. I don't know who you are. I'm just going off profile and tape that I've watched. Yep. I would take Jamar over AJ today. I also believe Jamar is like 3 years younger. But after that, I think at the end of this season, I think AJ supplants himself as that true number one.
Yeah, I'm not mad at the number one here. At Brown and Smith, your Super Bowl champion, Philadelphia Eagles receiver duo. I still don't think we've seen the potential.
Looking at a side, let me just talk to Marcus real quick. Looking at a side by side of AJ and Metcalf doesn't do anything. Metcalf has 3 inches on him. Like that does nothing for me. You're talking about a guy who's 6'4" versus a guy who's 6'1". You're telling me more that Metcalf is an absolute freak of nature than AJ Brown. AJ Brown's just 6 foot big dude, bro. Don't get me wrong, bro is yoked up. He is massive. He gets down in the gym. But him and DK, all they had together was they went to the same school and they could both lift weights heavy.
Yeah, they Saquon Barkley just had his camp out in Harrisburg.
Yeah, I heard about that.
And my boy took his son up there, and they had the VIP thing, and he said some of the players were out there in Bishop McDevitt. And he met AJ, and my boy Tim is a ex offensive lineman, and he's a legit 6'6". So you know, as all our old football players do, when you meet some of these guys that are in the league, you just have to size them up. It's like, like y'all really this big in the league? Y'all look as big as y'all look on TV. And he said, AJ, the TV don't do him justice. AJ looks bigger in person than he does on TV. And I think that same, you kind of mentioned his name, that was the same about TL. TL was bigger in person than he was.
Man, you're talking about
look like in the field.
AJ's not tall, man.
No, he's not 6'3", he's not 6'4",
but he is.
He's
built
6'1".
Like the dude is.
But being 6'1" and 230, like that ain't, you know what I mean? Like he's a big boy. You know, you make him 2-3 more inches. You know, that's pushing it. Tight ends are more like
2-3 more inches. He's DK Metcalf.
Yeah, and DK ain't no small boy either.
No, I'm not saying they're small. I'm not saying anything about small, bro. Look, trust me, but he's 6'1". Like,
yeah, he is. No,
with shoes, right. I'm 6'4". I don't care how big you are this way. I still look down at you. Like, you're you know, it's fine. I mean, I remember meeting Jalen Reagor, bro. Was like probably like up to here. You know what I mean? Like, it's not a, you know, I understand it, man. It's just you're not gonna convince me off the fact of I'm more in the sense of AJ Brown and Jamar are not the biggest, fastest, strongest in the room. AJ might be the strongest, but usually they're not the biggest, fastest, strongest in the room. But what they do with the ball in their hands after the catch and the fear that they impose Because on a blocking play, they might throw this corner off the line like there's no tomorrow, like a George Pickens would.
Mm.
But the thing with these two, it's a little bit more devious. It's a little bit, I mean, Jamar was going at Coop. Coop locked up Jamar there on that one little wraparound. I mean, it's I don't know. I think that the wide receiver size thing is such a joke.
I know exactly what play you're talking about, and it really was. It had a clean shot at Chase.
Yeah. It was a clean shot. It was a great read. He didn't have to follow. He didn't have to follow, it was just a movement.
It was a movement play that tried to swing it over to Chase.
He was supposed to do. He did not show off any crazy athleticism, but he did real good to keep up with the pre-snap.
Yeah, no, he did. It was.
I'll tell you this. He could keep up with Jamar pre-snap. He had no fucking clue what Adam Thielen was doing pre-snap. Go back and watch Panthers first Cooper DeJean. It was brutal. Brutal. And he'll tell you. It was brutal.
Yeah, I hear that. I was going to kind of preface into this, receiving roster for the Eagles, but I just got a question for you because I was looking at AJ's numbers, and somewhat of a volume guy, right? Outside of last year, he got hurt, but the 2 years before that, his first 2 years in Philly, almost 300 targets between those first 2 years. So we're feeding him the ball, and right, like you said, when we give him the ball and he's on the field, we win football games, right? Just point blank.
And he don't even have to touch the ball. As long as he's on the field, we win football games.
1,500 yards. It looked like that was a career high, almost about 1,496. So I just call it 15.
1,496 should be the career high for him.
Yeah, and 22 on 88 receptions, which is great. Not even getting to 100. Next year, same kind of productions, almost 20 receptions more. But do you think that's his peak? And do you think that's his peak? Do you think that's his peak here in Philly, especially with now another offensive coordinator in Kevin Patula?
I don't think he's ever a guy that you could think about sniffing 2,000, if that's the question. But
no, I'm thinking of the other elite guys. I'm thinking like 17. Like, are we ever going to see 1,700?
When you do it, sure. I do think that availability is going to be his biggest question moving forward. I mean, he did miss, a few games last year.
Yeah, no, he did.
Yeah, he got hurt at the end of the year before that. But when we acquired him, he had issues with knees and a couple things with Tennessee. And then we just got blessed and had the best season of health from him in 2022, in which case we made the Super Bowl appearance and lost to the Chiefs. So I think that we already have a standard for him. We have the best that he's done, and it was based on health and production. Do I think he can surpass it? 100%. I think he can. Will he? I don't know that him getting older does anything beneficial for his health. I'm just going to put it like that. I will say this. AJ has gone above and beyond this offseason to get physically and mentally better. And I think he's going to come into this season and he is going to have an absolute just shutout season. Like, I think AJ is going to come in here and prove, like I said, at the end of the year, there's going to be undoubtedly this dude is wide receiver 1 in the NFL. But it's all barring injury. I'm going to go with, I think, based on the offseason work he's done, I'm going to say this dude's going to come to the year as healthy as he's ever been. He's stronger than ever. He's going to be faster than ever. And I think he goes out there and he puts on a career year. Now, whether that's 1,700 or it's really just 1,507 or something, I don't really know. But hey, either or is a benefit.
Yeah, no, for sure. And do you think this offense is going to change much? I know we'll get more into it.
The offense isn't the offense. These rumors of the offense will pass more because of Kevin Patullo, the new offensive coordinator, is fucking ridiculous. The offense is the same offense that it was last season when they won the Super Bowl. They would like to pass the football more. And I don't know how many times, Nate, I have to say this on here, but they would prefer to pass the football to score and run to win. However, they were the only team in the NFL last year that ran the ball more than they passed the ball in the first half of the game because it completely went against their beliefs.
Yeah,
they won a Super Bowl. That does not mean they're going to run the football 8 bajillion times next year. They're going to do exactly what they did. Are there going to be games where Hurts throws for 18 to 25 passes? There will. There might be a game where he throws from 25 to 35. It's going to go game to game. And that is why the Philadelphia Eagles should be looked at as just scarier and scarier as time goes on. Because every time the game changes, they just get to put on another mask.
All right. I like it. I like it. So as we close out the rankings, let us know what your rankings are out there for those watching. I know people jumping in and out here. So spiked up to almost 7, 8 folks in here at once. So keep it coming. Tell a friend to tell a friend. And now let's switch gears. And we talked about the duos. Well, what's behind that? That's behind Brown. What's behind Smith? And we're using a new roster, a new reference point from yours truly, the GM, of looking at the Eagles roster and looking specifically at the receivers. Bear with me. I will try to zoom in a little bit on
Try your
this.
best. A lot of ads. It's a free website. Anybody can use it. OurLads.com. Shout out Our Lads.
So
it is a phenomenal website.
Zoom in here just a little bit more. Is that good? Is that pretty? No, that's a little tight. A little tight. I'll bring it back just a little bit. I think that's good, right?
Future reference, we should screenshot that table and just blow it up.
Yeah, we could.
The table doesn't change. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. All right. So we kind of why isn't AJ on here?
He is.
Oh, there. I'm sorry. I'm seeing left, right, and slot. Okay, my bad. Just reading it. Okay. So like why do they have DeVonta at slot?
Where he plays.
Yeah. I guess you're
Look
right.
at snaps played, man. That's where he plays.
All right, yeah.
AJ Brown is your X. DeVonta is your slot. Jahan's your Z. It's been that way since Sirianni came to the team.
I guess you're right.
Pull up your beautiful PFF and look up how many snaps DeVonta Smith plays slot versus blank.
I hear you.
I mean, goddamn.
All right. Scratch out AJ. Scratch out DeVonta. Let's start up with first guy up, Jahan Dotson. What do you expect from Jahan Dotson coming up this year? And do you expect him to be more entrenched in this offense and actually be that third? Well, I guess Goddard's there. Here's a great question. Do you think he overtakes Goddard as a
No, it should be very clear that the third wide receiver is the fifth option in the offense, no matter what your name is. I don't care if you're Jerry Rice, you're going to be the fifth option in the offense. The main goal for the receiver behind AJ Brown and DeVonta Smith, and this is your starting receiver in 11 personnel. They played a lot of 12 personnel last year, but your starting receiver in 11 personnel is Jahan Dotson. Previously, it was Quez Watkins. This role garners what they call a track meet-like situation in which you're going to run a fuck ton and not get a lot of production coming your way. Dotson was going to get cut by the Commanders. We overpaid a good bit for him, and it's pretty well known around the league. Kind of got duped by, I'm not going to say we kind of got duped, but a division foe, threaten letting a player go to waivers, then you give up a third-round pick and some change for him for Dotson and a fifth. It doesn't look good going back on it, especially what's come out now from the Washington side of things. But Dotson's a good football player. I mean, I don't mind Dotson as a 3 at all. For this offense, he's absolutely perfect. I mean, this has been the best option that we've had at this position. It's not even close. He's the most talented receiver that has come through the wide receiver 3 position in Philadelphia. His competition would be Zach Pascal and Quez Watkins. Zach Pascal is a guy we're going to get to a little bit after this because he created a role in this offense that is substantial. But yeah, man, Dotson's he's still young. He's going to hit free agency after this year.
I was about to say, is he still on his rookie contract, right?
He's on the last year of his rookie deal this year.
He's on the last year of
his
rookie
deal. And they opted out of his first round, his 5th-year option. So this is 100% the last year of his deal with the Eagles. He will not be playing for Philadelphia after this year. So he is in a make or break contract this year, which means whatever he does for this team is to put on for free agency next season.
So you don't think he's coming back at all?
There's not a fart of chance Jahan Dotson plays for the Philadelphia Eagles next year because some team will want to pay him, $5 to $10 million.
Okay. Yeah.
They don't. The contract's coming up. It's over. He's not. It's not a me knowing something. This is a math. It just is what it is.
Yeah, right.
So therefore, his role will have to be re-upped in the next season. Where things get kinky is behind Dotson.
Yep.
And if DeVonta or AJ were to go down, then Jahan would step up, and he has the ability to play X, flank, slot, whatever. If AJ goes down, Jahan would line up outside. He did so in the Week 18 game against the Giants, and it was all right. He made some good catches throughout the year. If there's one thing that I thought was kind of for sure is coming out of college, he was deemed to be pretty sure-handed. And at Washington, he had kind of a drop problem. But I thought in Philly, he did a really good job so far of anytime the ball rarely came to him, he caught it. Probably made his biggest catch in the Super Bowl, which everybody thought was a touchdown, but ended up resulting in a touchdown.
I was so upset about that.
Yeah, that was a tough one. I
had money on him scoring first.
Yeah, that was was tough.
Yeah, that was tough. It was literally half a yard. His knee dropped.
Not even.
So
it
was so brutal. I was in my head. I'm like, it's the Super Bowl. Just give him the touchdown and give me my money.
My argument is if it wasn't the Super Bowl, they would have let it count.
Right, man. That's what I told myself. Just give him the touchdown and give me the money. But yeah, no, go ahead, continue. Behind you said it gets, kind of interesting. I know they're big. They want Anaya Smith to be good. Their third round draft pick, I think it was.
So he was a 5th round pick of last year. If you look at the little number there, so it'll say like 5-24.
Oh, the 5. Okay, yeah.
Yep. So then 6-24. That was from last year. So if you look at like Marshall, it says LV-U. That's just unrestricted free agent via Las Vegas.
Yep.
So Anaya Smith, Johnny Wilson, they were the draft picks from last year. Let's start with Johnny Wilson because I think Johnny worked out with Jalen last offseason. We didn't see Anais. He was doing some YouTube stuff and some other offseason work. But Johnny Wilson, the 6'6", I think like 228 pounder out of FSU, he was a unique commodity. But he worked with Jalen early, and he took over what we call is the bruiser role on the Philadelphia Eagles. And the bruiser role at wide receiver was first deemed by Zach Pascal. I don't know if anybody remembers him. He now plays for the Cardinals. But this is your dirty work receiver. So this is the guy that when you go 12, you most likely pull AJ or DeVonta, whoever wants to snap off, and you throw Johnny out there and you tell him just maul the man in front of you. And he's doing more blocking than he is receiving. Now, he had a ton of penalties last year. So, I mean, a lot of blocking, a lot of holdings. But receiving was subpar. However, I believe he is safe this year. I think they want to develop him in that role. I think there's a possible future for him with a conversion at tight end, but we'll get to that down the road. But I think Johnny Wilson is a safe number 4 in the bruiser role for the Eagles, which, like I said, has been established in roles prior by Zach Pascal. When Quez was the primary 3, there was a couple of guys that got in there, but Zach Pascal was the guy that really invented the role. We touch on Anaya Smith here. Anaya Smith is a guy I was very, very high on coming out of college. 5th round pick at Texas A&M. This is a kid that is a small, compact build. He was a primary returner in college as well as slot receiver. And that's almost kind of his biggest weakness right now is the fact that all he brings to the team is slot and return ability. So, as you know, Nate, when he goes into camp next Tuesday, he's really just competing for a backup slot job and a return job. And those jobs kind of carry themselves together in a sense, because if you're playing that 5th receiver role, you kind of need to bring something to special teams. And I say kind of lightly, you have to bring something to special teams. And Anais is not a primary gunner. He's not. He doesn't offer any of that. This kid is a slot receiver, punt returner mainly, and he's got some serious competition. We're going to start off with a guy that I'm a big fan of, Danny Gray. pull up his profile. This is a wide receiver at SMU, I believe. He was drafted in the 3rd round by the 49ers, dealt with some injury issues, ended up in Philly last year, was on the practice squad the whole year, and was personally shouted out by Jalen Hurts in an interview, I believe, done by, I think it was Andrew DeCecco of Inside the Birds, was doing a locker room interview. And he was interviewing Danny Gray, and Jalen Hurts interrupted the interview and personally told him, like, yo, it's something along the lines of, like, you know, good practice, DG, like, keep it up. Like, this dude on the scout team was providing issues for first team corners and so on. He has 4.33 40 speed. He is a punt returner / kick returner if you wanted to be. And I believe he's only 25 years old or something like that right now, 25, 26. Still relatively young. When roster cut down comes to be, I've hinted at the role of the wide receiver 4 needs to be a bruiser. Wide receiver 5 needs to bring something to the table offensively, but mainly needs to be a special teamer. And special teams at wide receiver 5 really means you need to be a returner and or a gunner. Well, in the NFL, there's a thing that refers to you as a vested veteran. When you are an NFL vested veteran, which means you have accrued 4 seasons or more of at least 6 games played or with a roster designation. So that means you were either on PUP, IR, or whatever, but you accrued 4 years of being in the NFL. So that just says that, you know, whatever. Well, when you become a vested veteran, on the final roster cutdown day, if you're a vested veteran, you are not subject to waivers. Waivers is, you know, when every other team in the NFL gets an option to pick you up before, you know, you reach somebody else.
Yep.
Danny Gray is subject to waivers, which, in my opinion, gives Ainias Smith more reason to not sleep at night, because Danny Gray carries every single ability that he has, and yet he does it faster and, in my opinion, a little bit better, even though I am a very big fan of Ainias Smith. Ainias Smith is going to be looking over his shoulder come Tuesday of next week because Danny Gray's right there. And the team in the spring has already started plugging him in at kick returner, which means if they're playing kick returner, you show kick returner at that size, really you want a running back or a DB at kick return. So that wide receiver is now being funneled to punt return. If he gets to punt return and he's running with the second team slot, there's no chance Ainias makes the roster. Where we get to the next player that is very interesting, and this is really the last one of relevance outside of a return guy, but Terrace Marshall Jr., 25 years old, out of LSU. He was on the Joe Burrow team, the Jamar Chase team, like 6'3", 200, shit, maybe 6'2", 200-something pounds. I mean, this dude he's a legitimate outside receiver. What's he got him at?
6'3", 200 pounds.
6'3", 200. Yeah. So he's 6'3", 6'2", 205, 215, somewhere in that realm. A true outside receiver. If we had the conversation, what we were talking about earlier, outside of the 5 previous guys that we've talked about, we'd have to agree. What we've talked about 6. The 6 previous guys we've talked about, out of size, you know, not talking about Johnny Wilson because that size is a little too big. This would be the most obvious option to replace A.J. Brown. I mean, would you not agree?
Yeah.
This is your prototypical X. Thanks to the power of, we're going to call it artificial intelligence. Thanks to the power of artificial intelligence and really just vetting your options here. Terrace Marshall is a vested veteran, like I just talked about earlier. He has accrued 4 seasons with at least 6 appearances, whether it be in-game, active, IR, or PUP. So technically, that means that on roster cutdown day, the Eagles, just like they did with Paris Campbell last offseason, could come to a formal agreement where they will cut Terrace Marshall and then sign him the week after. And he'll be on the practice squad, in which he would have 3 elevations until he would have to be signed to the roster like Paris Campbell was, and Paris Campbell ended up playing the Super Bowl. And the reason Paris was willing to do it is because Paris was buddies with Nick Sirianni, and, you know, they went back and whatever.
Yeah, they went back to their Indy days.
If I had to guess, and if I had to tell you, I would say that their plan with Terrace Marshall is identical to what they had out of Paris Campbell. It is simply a worthwhile veteran that they can stash on the practice squad that is not subject to waivers, So the negotiations to bring them back are between them and them only. It's an interesting Eagles-like approach, and I think from what I've talked to a couple guys that would know, I'm the only one that's brought it up to them as far as, the situation being the situation. Obviously, we're talking about a dude who might end up on the practice squad for the Eagles. It's not that serious. But there's not a lot of people talking about the difference between Danny Gray and Terrace Marshall. They keep talking about, oh, Danny Gray brings this to the table. He's faster. Terrace Marshall's an X, blah, blah, blah. There's only one thing that matters. Danny Gray is not a vested veteran and is subject to waivers. Terrace Marshall is a vested veteran and can sign with any team he wants after he's cut.
Mm-hmm.
That could be the Cowboys because you're pissed off, or you go right back to the Eagles where you already have a prearranged agreement.
Do you think they keep 6?
I think Avery Williams is going to make the roster regardless. Now, where they place him, I don't know. They have him listed as a wide receiver, in which case I think they keep 6. But he's played at running back. He's played at quarterback.
Yeah.
He could also be listed as a return specialist only. That's another player that Anais Smith and Danny Gray are worried about. And Nick Sirianni spoke very highly of Avery Williams at the NFL owners meetings earlier this year. So those are the 9 receivers to worry about in Philadelphia. Avery was he's just a gadget guy, special teamer. He's a really good returner.
Yeah, I was about to say he's a decent returner.
During the spring, though, he didn't practice at all due to an undisclosed injury. So,
yeah, I think I did see that he didn't practice at all.
He's a guy that could make the team. I think he's a lock just based on the way that they've talked about him. Now, where they fit him in is where they fit him in. But he's in the wide receiver conversation. Sure. I mean, you could see them slotting him in at 6, but understand his role is strictly special teams and maybe some gadget offensive plays. But yeah, I mean, Avery's a very interesting player that fans need to kind of keep an eye on through the offseason.
So with this all looking at, I mean, we have, 12 receivers, on this list. Who is your receiver 5, in your opinion?
I'm going to go with Danny Gray. And I think that's more or less I want to see Anais Smith win it out, but I just don't think he will. I think it's going to be Brown, Smith, Dotson, Wilson, Gray, and then wherever they slot Williams. I think Williams kind of comes into play there. Now, mind you, this is with Terrace Marshall on the practice squad. So if something were to happen to AJ or whatever, they could call him up for 3 games and then would have to cut somebody to bring him to the roster.
Yeah, I agree.
It's easier for a team like Philadelphia to sell that to a player than it is for a team like, let's say, the Carolina Panthers, because you're offering, if you're on the practice squad at any point during the year, you get a ring. So you're offering a ring to somebody. You know what I mean? Like it's a different it's a different role. And then the fact that Paris played in the game last year, I mean, what else can you ask for? I mean, the dude got snaps in the big one. Like, he might have rode the pine all year and filled in when he had to fill into, but there's clearly a role for that player.
Absolutely. Yeah, I mean, I think, I think we did this with running back as we kind of get close to closing out. The question is, what do they have behind, those stars? If one of those stars go down, thankful enough, we're fortunate enough, we do have that kind of 1B. But behind that, right, you're going to need some players to really step up. And looking at this roster, obviously, from the receiver room, AJ goes down, Smitty becomes your X. Or do they move Smitty to X, right? Absolutely.
Dotson would play the X. Initially. Dotson would play the X, and Smitty would play a move. Smitty's always your move. Smitty's always going to be able to – he will get snaps at X, but it's a 1-2-3 kind of thing with him and AJ.
Yeah, that makes sense.
But Smitty is the most movable out of them. I mean, he could line up anywhere. You know what I mean? He's got that.
So we say AJ, because AJ does have a little bit of injury history. AJ goes down. it's going to be Dotson, Smitty, and then who's your 3?
I think the biggest one was like the Saints game where they didn't have either or, and then they didn't have AJ to start, and then Smith got hurt.
He got hurt, yeah, when he got clipped.
And then you look at Goddard. That becomes your
I knew Goddard. Yeah,
that's
I was trying to stay in the receiver room. I knew.
Yeah,
Goddard.
But when it comes to the receiver room, I think that ideally, let's say they were able to go into the game and knowing that they had to call up a guy like a Terrace Marshall or something. I think Dotson's going to be your X. Let's say Smith is able to play. That'd be your primary slot. Also your move Z. And I think they would actually move to a heavier 12. I don't think they would bring the third receiver in the option.
Yeah.
And if he was that guy, it would be Johnny Wilson in that mauler role as the blocking guy. And I think you're starting to see how they do things, because when they're 11, they're 11. But when they're 12, are they really 12? You know what I mean? Like they have
that flexibility.
It's multi-positionality is a weird way to say it, but they have a lot of flexibility, like you said, within the way they can structure their personnel.
Yeah.
And I think that's what they look for more than anything, is the ability to show 12, but they're in 11. The ability to show 11, but they might have a little 13. You know, like it's the way they do things. And then you got Saquon back there, which just it throws all of it into a whirlwind.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, Lil G, I see you every once in a while, man. Always appreciate Eagles fans jumping in, man. Appreciate you. Yeah, no, I agree, man. I agree. And because they have that roster flexibility and they have so many pass catchers at other positions, we even talked about the pass catchers behind, Barkley. We didn't really even get to the tight end room. I guess we could have mixed that in with the receiver room a little bit.
Well, right now they got 7 on roster, so they're calling for their own show right now. I mean, that's they have 7 legitimately drafted tight ends. The 7th man on the roster, Cameron Latu, I believe, was a 3rd or 4th round pick of the Niners 2 years ago. So, I mean, they overloaded because they thought that Dallas Goedert was going to be out the door. But now they have an over influx, so the competition gets even better. You can't, in the building, they're nothing but happy when it comes to tight end. So I think that's going to be a fun one to go over. But kind of like we touched on in the last show and this show, what happens when the stars go down? Who do they have behind them?
Yeah, and I think tight end's interesting because I don't think, in my personal opinion, I don't think the fall from one is as big as people think. Because I don't think Goddard's lived up to that top 5 label that he gets all the time.
Well, it's another show, but
it is another show.
The NFL would strongly disagree with you. I can tell you that. He's
okay.
On tape, a lot of things they do with him gone, mainly from the run game blocking. They don't have a guy that can replicate that. Last year they didn't. So
he had a good playoff and Super Bowl run. I'll give him credit. Right.
Leading receiver in the playoffs all the past 3 years.
He had a good run. He had a good run because he knew he needed to.
Turns up when it matters most.
He had to make that money. So
he didn't make money. He turned it in, so it didn't matter.
Yeah. Right. Didn't
led the team receiving to a Super Bowl run and still had to take a pay cut. So gotta love it.
Yeah. True. All right. I want to thank everybody for rocking with us for the greatest wide receiver ranking you've ever seen before. A little bit of surprise there at number 3 with the Miami Dolphins. So if you guys go back and listen to it again, make sure you leave a comment. Tell me what your top 5 duo from 5 to 1 is for your rankings and see how you measure up with the boys. I'm Moss Money. That's Ernie B. This is Victory Mondays. We will see you guys next week for the start of camp, right? Start of camp right before.
Yeah, camp preview. We should do we'll do a camp battle preview.
Yeah,
battle preview. You know what I mean?
For sure. We'll pick out the ones that make a lot of sense, and we'll probably. I guess we can fit tight ends in that show too. Tight ends shouldn't take too long. Shouldn't be.
No, I mean tight ends one of the discussions, one of the primary discussions.
Yeah,
so,
exactly.
We'll be talking. We'll be talking corner. We'll be talking right guard. A little bit of safety. Post CJ.
Yep.
And kind of like you said, the tight end conversation is going to come up in that. I mean, training camp's going to be real fun. A lot of competition and a lot of legitimate talent fills out their roster top to bottom.
Absolutely. So for the boys from Victory Monday, we will see you guys next week. Thanks for joining in. Out there.